Hello, everybody. How are you guys? So, today is our second day of our lessons, and today our topic is legal aptitude. This is our paper today, and we'll be covering the first lesson, Indian Constitution. So, what do you know about the Constitution of India? Let's wait for a few moments, shall we? So, can anybody tell me the preamble of India? Let's see. Let's go to the preamble first. We, the people of India, having solemnly resolved to constitute India into a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuring the dignity of the individual and the unity and integrity of the nation. In our Constituent Assembly, this 26th day of November 1949, do hereby adopt, enact, and give to ourselves this Constitution. So, this is the Constitution Day. When? The 26th day of November 1949. The Constitution Day is the day that the Constitution was adopted. Who adopted? The people of India. And it is by the people, for the people, of the people. That is why it's saying, give to ourselves. We, the people of India, are giving it to ourselves, this Constitution. Now, a few important points that you might want to know about our Constitution. The Constitution lays down the basic structure of our nation's polity, and it is the foundations of certain fundamental values. So, what is the day of the Constitution, or the Constitution Day? Is the 26th of November. So, what is the 26th of January? That is the Republic Day. So, can anyone tell me what is the difference between this Constitution Day and the Republic Day? Haven't you ever wondered? Let's find out, shall we? So the Constitution Day commemorates the day of the adoption of the Constitution, while the Republic Day commemorates the Constitution coming into effect. Adoption and coming into effect. It's flexible. കേരളത്തിനിടയ്ക്ക് ക്ലാസ് ഇങ്ങനെ നടക്കുന്നതാവും. ഒന്നും കേൾക്കണ്ടല്ലേ? അല്ല, തുടങ്ങി ഒരു 10 മിനിറ്റ് ആയപ്പോഴേക്കും ട്രെയിൻ, പിന്നെ ലൈവിലാണ് കേട്ടാ. ഇങ്ങനെ നടക്കുന്ന കാര്യം കാണുമെന്ന് അറിയാം ലൈവില്. So the vision of social economic change through the Constitution is reflected in the preamble. And the preamble expresses the ideals and aspirations of a renaissance India, renaissance baby, newly born. At independence, emerging out of a long period of foreign domination and expression under feudal system. So, so Constitution lays down the basic structure of the nation's polity and what is the soul of the Constitution, which is the preamble, fundamental rights, directive principles, and fundamental duties. And vision of social economic change. What is the vision of social economic change? That is laid down in the Constitution, and we are going to study that now. Now emphasizes liberty, justice, equality, Safeguarding minority rights. Let's do a side quest. In which are the directive principles of state policy enshrined? The directive principles of state policy are found in the Constitution. What is the Constitution that specifically contain the directive principle? What is in the Constitution that specifically contain the directive principles of state policy? Are the provisions contained in the directive principles? Which part provisions are contained in Part 4 of the Constitution? Despite not being enforceable, what is the governance in the country? Principles laid down in Part 4 that they deal with the governance of our country. We the people, the phrase we the people constitutes that India is a republic. Now, what is a broad framework of the Constitution? Which year did the Constitution come into practice? 1950. No, 1956 is the day that that's the year when Kerala state came into being, not the Constitution. Now, all public, what are the directive principles? They direct the powers. All powers are directed either directly or indirectly from the Constitution. And where does the Constitution derive its power? The Constitution derives its power from the people. Now, what is India declared to be as per the Constitution? Sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic, and republic. So if I tell you it's economical, financial, no. So what does the Constitution secure to all its citizens? Justice, liberty, equality, fraternity, and finance. Yes, that would be wrong to say that. So the democratic character of the Indian polity is illustrated by the provisions conferring on the adult citizens the right to vote and by the provisions for elected representatives and responsibility of the executive to the legislature. No, the word socialist was added by the 42nd Amendment. Do you know how many articles are contained in our Constitution? At the time of its adoption, it had how many schedules? So the lesson covers the fundamental rights So, what is federal? We know our country is a federal republic. What is a federal republic? What is the meaning? What does it mean when we say that the country is a federal republic? In the constitution, basically federal, but with certain unitary features. Federal. Supreme Court stands at the head of the judiciary to guard against the violation of the constitutional provisions. The fundamental rights, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship, equality of status and of opportunity, and fraternity assuring the dignity of the individual. The right to equality is mentioned from Articles 14 to 18. Right to freedom is in Articles 19 to 22. Right against exploitation is mentioned in Articles 23 and 24. Right to freedom of religion is mentioned in Articles 25 to 28. Cultural and educational rights are in the Articles 29 and 30. Right to constitutional remedies, Articles 30, Article 32. Now, you must have found something. You must have noticed something. Article 31 was missing here. Previously, Article 31 conferred the right to property, the fundamental right to property, but we cannot. Then government said, no, we cannot provide a fundamental right to property, and it was removed by the 44th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1978 and placed where? You know where it was placed? Okay, even I forget. Let me check. The amendment is the 42nd Amendment. It is now under 300A. So, what are the right to constitutional remedies? Justiciable rights and non-justiciable rights. What does the meaning of justiciable right? Justiciable rights can go to court if your right is breached. Non-justiciable, you cannot go to court. Can you give me an example? A justiciable right. It would be if I hit Rahul or if I slap Rahul. You can do a slap and hit is not a huge problem, but still it is a. It doesn't have to be what is it? Critical. He doesn't have to be critically injured. Right to safety is a right. You have a right to be safe when you go out, don't you? Exactly. Okay, now coming back. So, what are the basic fundamental rights? Anyone? Right to equality, freedom against exploitation, right to freedom, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right, cultural and educational rights, and right to constitutional remedies. So, Articles 12 and 13 deal with definition of state and law, respectively. So, Article 12 deals with the definition of the state. It tells you what is a state, and Article 13 tells you what is a law. Now, Articles 33 to 35 deal with the general provisions relating to fundamental rights. No fundamental right in India is absolute, and reasonable restrictions. What do you mean by not absolute? Yes, you cannot repeat. Your right has a limit. It's not unlimited. Where is the limit drawn? As far as it's concerned, suppose uh, I have a right to be practice my religion, but it should not be not endangering per se. It should not be. I should not. What is it? I should not go and try to stop another person. You can pray as loud as you want, but if it creates a problem, if it creates noise pollution, that is the end. Other ruler. Yeah. Mm. No fundamental right in India is absolute, and reasonable restrictions can be imposed in the interest of the state by valid legislation. And in such case, the court normally would respect the legislative policy behind the same. This was ascertained by Supreme Court. People's Union of Civil Liberties was Union of India in the year 2004. From point of view of persons to whom the rights are available, the fundamental rights may be classified as follows. Articles 15, 16, 16, 19, and 30 are guaranteed only to citizens. We'll come to see those. Articles 14, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 27, and 28 are available to any person on the soil of India, whether citizens or foreigner. Articles 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 24 are absolute limitations upon the legislative power. Now let's look at what a state is. With a few exceptions, all the fundamental rights are available against the state. Under Article 12, unless the context otherwise requires, the state includes the government and parliament of India, the government and the legislature of each of the states, all local or other authorities within the territory of India or under the control of the government of India. The expression local authorities refers to authorities like municipalities, district boards, panchayats, improvement trusts, port trusts, and mining settlement boards. Now, there was a very famous case that came to the Supreme Court in the year 1981. It's Ajay Hassia vs. Khalid Mujib, and in that case, the Supreme Court has enunciated the following test for determining whether an entity is an instrumentality or agency of the state. That is, if the entire share capital of the corporation is held by the government, it would go a long way towards indicating that the corporation is an instrumentality or agency of the government, where the financial assistance of the state is so much as to meet almost the entire expenditure of the corporation. It would afford some indication of the corporation being impregnated with the government character. Now, whether the corporation enjoys a monopoly status which is conferred or protected by the state. Existence of deep and pervasive state control may afford an indication that the corporation is a state agency or an instrumentality. If the functions of the corporation are of public importance and closely related to government functions, it would be a relevant factor in classifying a corporation as an instrumentality or agency of the government. If a department of government is transferred to a corporation, it would be a strong factor supporting an inference of the corporation being an instrumentality or agency of the government. For example, ICAR, CSIR, ONGC, IDBI, electricity boards, NEFED, Delhi Transport Corporation, etc. are some under the definition of the state. BMTC would also come under the KSRTC is also an instrumentality. Now, an act is passed by the government. The subject matter of the act was to grant certain pay-related benefits to all employees of the state. Are only states of India, example state of Maharashtra or UP, are required to comply with law? According to Article 12 of the Constitution, the word state includes not only states of India but also certain other authorities or organizations. Alright, so let's stop this for today. Tomorrow I'll give you a quiz. That will be an MCQ.